My lesson today is titled Absorption, dealing with, the word absorb. My text is from Genesis chapter 3, verse 11 to 14, which says, "And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee, thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life." I noticed that he asked the man a question, he asked the woman a question, but when he heard the serpent brought into the picture, he just went straight to pronouncing a judgment. He didn't ask him. Notice from this that the serpent offered them a way to get knowledge by saying to the woman, "Did God say?" And he's like reasoning with her, letting her know, it's just because he knows that if you eat from this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you're going to become like God. You're going to get all kinds of special knowledge and so on. You're going to make you like God. That's why he doesn't want you basically to eat from it. That's the idea there. So she wanted this knowledge, this power to make her like God. So it seems like he has knowledge and she liked that. So she took of the fruit and she ate to get that knowledge to make her godlike. But with all this knowledge, when the Creator was seeking knowledge of what happened, he allowed the man to provide knowledge of what happened, how it happened, and he asked the woman as well, and she gave knowledge of what happened. But when he came to the serpent now, who was the one who was pointing the way to knowledge initially before they fell, all of a sudden he is ignored, his knowledge is ignored. He doesn't need to be asked a question for him to give up any knowledge of how things happened. We don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear from you. Who cares about your knowledge? Even though he was the one who brought the knowledge from that tree into bigger focus, because the Creator just simply said don't eat from it, but he had a more down-to-earth discussion of how it can be beneficial, and he wasn't allowed to give any knowledge when the time of judgment came. A little bit odd. Absorption is an action by which one thing absorbs or is absorbed by another. So the serpent offered knowledge to be ingested as food, to be taken in as food, since it mentions a fruit. So like I've told you before, that serpent is a person or people teaching, religiously teaching something. So it wasn't no fallen angel, Satan or Lucifer, or an angel from heaven that fell, but it was a person who did not like the people in the garden, and so he brought some bad teachings to teach them, to get them off the path of righteousness or good living, proper living. And so he wanted to change their nature, because as long as they had this quote-unquote God nature, because he breathed into man the breath of life and man became a living soul, so man became a God-man. And if man is a God-man and he retains his nature as it was from the start, as a man he will live like God would live on the earth. So he would live clean, he would live right, like things are always pristine. He will not ruin the earth or those around him. He will just live like that. But if some teaching comes in that's wrong, then that teaching is going to change his nature, because God's nature in the man will be maintained by a word of knowledge that you live by, that helps you to decide how you should live from this point on. So the focus has been on the fruit from I was a child and I first heard it. But now I understand that the focus should be on the teaching or the focus should be on the ingestion. Something is being ingested the way you will take in food in order to change the nature of the man and the woman. Once the nature changes, you are no longer the original God-man type of person. You are now man plus something that is not proper, that does not think proper, that does not walk proper, that does not do the proper thing. Evidenced by the improper thing of doing something wrong, of breaking the commandment, where they were told to stay away and not eat from that fruit. So they have lost their way through wrong teaching. They have ingested the wrong way of thinking into their life. They have now been taken over slowly by different people teaching them wrong things, so they cannot return to their identity because they don't know who they are anymore. They have gotten away from it. They have ingested something that is poisonous, that affects their thinking, and lets them believe something that is taught by somebody else. Like I've been saying, you never saw who wrote the book. You never saw who wrote the Torah. You never saw who wrote the Bible. Somebody's telling you your people wrote it. You never saw that. And the book has not helped you one bit. And for a long time, it has not helped you to do anything to move towards your freedom. And they're telling you that the book says just keep waiting. Now, I'd like it to be true, and I will be happy for it. But let me tell you, see, some people are saying, brother, you're not even an Israelite, you're going to die. Look, the book says in Deuteronomy 28 that the God of Israel is sending us, the Negro, into captivity. But it also says that he's going to come back and rescue us. Like in Isaiah 11, verse 11 and 12, Jeremiah 31, and so on. It says he's going to come back. But it says in Deuteronomy 28 that you're going to serve other gods, wood and stone. So basically he says, I'm going to send you into different lands to live under different people's power and under their teachings. And while there you will eat unclean food, improper food. So again, you're going to continue. You're going to ruin your body physically by the food you're eating there that's unclean. But you're also going to have unclean spiritual food. You're going to ingest more of that, and you are not going to know yourself anymore. You will be disconnected in the Syndrome 174 from Jeremiah 17 verse 4, where you're going to be disconnected from your heritage, or you might lose to say your identity. You're going to be your heritage, so whatever you had coming for you that you would inherit and so on, you are going to lose all of that, so you're going to be broke. You're disconnected from your heritage. But he says he'll restore that one day, because later on we'll be restored and every man is going to sit under his tree and so on. So you're going to get back the heritage, or the stuff that should be left for you, given to you. You're going to get it back. You're going to get back your identity and so on. But it's important to note that he's saying you will be under their power and you're going to be in their religions of wood and stone. So you will not know yourself anymore. You will not know your way or your path anymore. So he says, look back to the ancients, the fathers. So the trick was to tell you who your fathers were, so that you will believe them, but you will not really know who your fathers were. You're just believing that they are your fathers because they told you these people are your fathers. But you never find a way to connect with them. How's Enoch your, well, let's not use him since they said he went up to heaven. How is Obadiah your father, and Jeremiah your father, and so on? And all these many prophets, Isaiah your father, Elijah your father. Well, okay, I guess he went up as well, but Elisha. You can never go and visit the graves of your fathers. You don't have their writings except in one book that everybody on earth can choose to believe in. And even the Christians read the book and say it is their book as well. So you don't have anything unique to you presented here. So you must dig and search some more. I'm not saying throw the Torah away or throw the Bible away. I'm saying just reconsider. Dig a little more. That's all I'm saying. Now, if I venture away from the Torah in all these discussions I'm having lately in these videos, you're saying I'm going to die. How do you know that? You're a prophet of doom, a prophet of death. You don't speak life into your people like Ezekiel 37. Shouldn't you be a more Ezekiel 37 kind of a prophet that speaks life into your people? If I'm dead in the congregation of the dead and I'm thinking all these things, that's wrong according to you, because you say that doesn't sound like a Torah lesson. Why don't you speak life into me and say, come on, brother, live again. You started out nice, although we didn't like your New Testament is fake series, but we like your other little stuff that you tried to do here and there. Speak life into me. Instead, you're quick to pronounce death. But the Torah says you are going to lose your way and go into captivity, serve wood and stone, so you're going to be in other religions. But it still says he's going to come and rescue you, Isaiah 11, verse 11 and 12, and bring us back. That means that he's coming to get you at a time when you are in the wrong. You're thinking wrong, you're living wrong, you're in the wrong religion, you're in the wrong land, you're in the wrong country, you're using the wrong thinking and religion and so on. But he's going to come and get you. That means to be right is not a requirement to be gathered back. So if you say I'm an Israelite that is going astray, I'm still going to be rescued, even though I'm thinking these things. Because he's coming back not to get the right Israelite, he's just coming back for Israelite, period. So if you find a way and you go into a camp and you're doing it all right, and the others of us who don't even know what Israelites are doing wrong, still be in the Christian church, he's just coming for Israelites that have been sent into captivity, whether they know or not that they're Israelite, whether they believe Torah or not, even if they're in some New Age religion. He said, I'm just coming back for Israelites, I'm going to gather you again. So don't be so afraid because I'm searching, I'm testing out stuff. I'm just going to be gathered back. So the serpent said, eat from this tree, from the knowledge of good and evil, to get them to ingest the knowledge of good and evil as food. And food will do something to your nature. If you eat the right food, so the knowledge of good, you continue to be what you are. It sustains you. If you eat the wrong food, the knowledge of evil, it will destroy your body, your makeup, it changes your nature, you start coming up with cancer, all kinds of diseases, you go to the grave early, you die. So the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is about mingling some evil with the truth. The good fruit mingles in, like when they're splicing trees and they're mixing up fruits and so on to grow together as one fruit, to get you to absorb the poison inside of you while you think you are eating a good fruit. That was the trick. It was a tree of wickedness because it looks like a regular fruit, but poison has grown in it. So it is now the knowledge of good and evil. Once you eat this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, where you have, for instance, good spiritual practices and good ways of living on the earth, with bad spiritual practices like false religious teachings that get you to do things like I've been talking about on the sacrificial system now, the lies and now the temple and so on. That evil teaching mingled in with the good spiritual stuff gets you to do a mingled spiritual practice out of the Torah that is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil working in you. It is a tree of corruption. So now you lose your way. And once the evil has been from these bad spiritual teachings have been absorbed into you by you ingesting the fruit of the Torah, because the Torah is mingled with deception in it, by you ingesting the fruit of the Torah, because the Torah is mingled with deception in it, then your good life or habits or efforts or heart or body becomes destroyed, because no good effort is able to stop the poison from working inside of you all the time. So you might go look for another tree in the garden and eat this and that to make you well because you start feeling sick. You don't realize the poison, because the serpent told you it was good, it's going to make you like God. So you go back and you eat. And you like it, so you eat more of it. But you're eating a good fruit with bad fruit grown into it. So no matter how much good food you live, you're still giving yourself a daily dose of poison religious teaching. Poisonous teaching. So the poison is always present in your body. And the nature of evil is such that if you continue to expose your system to it or your mind to it, you eventually get weakened and you go down and you die. And the day you eat of it, you will die. You're feeding yourself on the poison. And that is a trick of religious teachings that are bad. You think it is good because it says some nice stuff and it gives you a nice history with it and so on. So you think it is good, so you continue to eat it, while the evil one knows that you are absorbing poison and ingesting poison into your system at the same time. They're killing you. It's like some people get cancer or some bad disease or some lung cancer because they smoked so much and whatever, and now they start changing their habits. A lot of times they still die because it's like they can't eat enough of the good stuff and change themselves enough, their body enough, to overcome the damage, to reverse it, that has been done to their body, so they still die. And that's it. The poison continues to be fed into you by the false doctrine, the false teachings of the temple and sacrificial system that other nations were doing who were not Israelites or Canaanites and so on. So you're on the way to death. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil is a tree of corruption, a tree of wickedness. It corrupts you because some bad, wicked stuff is in it, along with the good stuff. It's kind of like the fine prints on a contract of evil that nullifies the good parts of the contract, right? It nullifies it because it's got all this fine stuff and you never read it, so it takes you down in the end. Looks like a good contract, but the fine print is evil. So the contract is riddled with good and evil. It is a contract of good and evil. And the salesperson just smiles, nice smile, and you will break out champagne afterwards because you signed the deal, and we drink to that. But when it's time to pay the Grim Reaper, you realize you were dead from the start when you signed it, because the day that you eat of it, you will die. But the death is realized later on. So then notice that the study of Torah does not save you from evil. The Old Testament or the Torah shows you that when the children of Israel returned to the Lord God, the Torah saved them from evil. But today, no matter how much you keep the Torah, our nation is still in captivity and still continues to head toward further evil. Now, so many of us, they're talking about they're getting ready to put us in FEMA camps. People are saying, oh, all kinds of evil stuff are coming and we're going to die and bombs and nuclear this and whatever. The Torah is not saving you from anything. More fear is growing in your heart because the Torah does not save you from any of that. I'm not saying it cannot or will not save you. I'm saying it does not save you from that. It's not saving you now. It hasn't saved you for a long time. Europeans have come and done us bad. Better part of 400 years of slavery and so on. Torah never saved us from that. Even prior to that, there's Indian slave trade, Arab slave trade, still have black people in slavery right now today, although they're enslaving other people, white people as well. Arabs have been in slavery for probably over 1700 years, they tell us. They've had our people in slavery attacking us for a long time. We ran from Jerusalem, they were attacking us there when we ran into Egypt as well, chasing us all over Africa. We had to run. So at what point does the Torah save you? You see, these things happened after the Torah was written, after the Torah period. As long as it's happening on the pages of the Torah, before the scrolls were written down, Israel is always finding another time when they can defeat the people that are coming after them. But in modern times, it is impossible to defeat your people and to be restored because the book has been closed. This sounds like a fanciful, great story to me that can only bring deliverance and salvation to the people from the fear in their heart and the physical fear and threat when it's on the pages of the book. But as long as the book has been written and the stroke of the pen has ceased, you cannot be saved from the conquistadors. You cannot be saved from the British. You cannot be saved from anyone. And you cannot be saved, according to some of you, from the FEMA camp that's coming. You cannot be. Show me, when does the Torah save you? You can only show that in a fairy tale kind of way, in a book that only saves your brothers and sisters from ancient times. That's it. The people in the Torah days, ancient Israelites, they didn't focus on the timing of the book so that they didn't get their deliverance right now or in a few years. 70 years in Babylon, bam, they want a deliverance right now. Babylonian captivity, they go down to the riverside, they're fasting and they're weeping, and they're just going to do why? Because freedom right now. Whenever they get ready. But you see, Israelites online putting together prayer meetings and whatever, and watching of the moon and whatever for deliverance now. And deliverance can't come. God hears the Israelites in the Bible, but he does not hear you. And you tell me, oh, it's because of prophecy. They had prophecies in the Torah days too. But when Israel was ready, they got up out of the prophecy and they got their freedom. And Torah teachers will tell you that if you make certain choices, you can even avert or reverse a prophecy. So why you can't reverse it right now? How powerful is your book and your Torah concepts? I'm just asking you to think. I'm not telling you stop your camp and get rid of it. That would be dumb as well. I'm just telling you to rethink. Rethink. Rethink.